In this video, you're gonna learn how you can analyze gaps in the market, analyze competitors, also kind of revamp your listings, and then understanding overall market intelligence across the board. Let's dive in and transform your brand's strategy. Okay, so now that we're inside of Smart Scout, let's go through a few different things. Now you can see over here in the far left, I have been navigated to the subcategories tool within Smart Scout. I understand that the subcategory I want to analyze is a little bit niche. It's called the black seed subcategory, right? Black seed oil. I've done a little bit of preliminary research prior to this, and I've identified, okay, there's some good potential here, and this is what my teammates want to explore. From right here, we want to jump into the dashboard itself. We're looking at Smart Scout. We can see that this overall subcategory, again, our goal here is to identify gaps in this market. Now we can see that this monthly revenue estimate is about $4.5 million in the last 30 days. Average selling price is $30. That's great. That falls within kind of our target selling price. We can also see the average page score is 8.1, which is pretty solid, right? The brands here, our competitors, are pretty well optimized for Amazon. A few other things that we can check out are the number of brands in this subcategory. In this size of subcategory, 4.5 million, 130 brands, that's kind of a decent amount of competitors, but we can see the number of ASINs, which is just under 300, which is actually pretty decent. One of the last things I like to look at is this revenue share. Okay, we can see the vendor central revenue versus seller central. Okay, in this example, we are a seller central brand. We sell ourselves. Now we want to identify, okay, which subcategories can we actually get into, right? We do not want to be competing against the Goliaths, right? The ones that sell through vendor central, okay? The ones that we are going to be having an uphill battle against. And the way that we analyze that is going to be through this little pie graph here. We can see that the vendor central has only had about 17% of this subcategory, which indicates to me that, okay, we've got 83% that we can compete against now. Coming over here, the first thing I like to do is just quickly click on products and scroll through these images to see exactly what we're up against. All right, so it looks like, again, this is black seed oil. We can see everything that's happening here. Now we can also see the brands that sell these top ASINs. We can see the rank. This is the overall rankings. And we can also see how many ASINs have a variation page, right? It looks like majority of these top sellers have this variation page. Understanding at a glance what is happening here, we can see that there's the 130 different brands that we had mentioned, and we can see the market share that each brand has. Okay, we can see the market share change and their monthly revenue estimates that they're capturing, right? Now I know everyone says don't expect to get 1% of the market, but if we were to get 1%, what would that look like, right? It would look like $50,000, right, a month of revenue from the black seed oil subcategory. How realistic is that for us to actually get in here and jump in and try to compete? Let's find out. So, all right, now let's fully compare and see how we can find this gap in the market, right? As we scroll over here, we can see the units that each brand has, the number of ASINs that each of these brand has as well. Okay, and this is great because we can say, all right, if we come in here and we copy something like Guru Nanda, right? Let's actually focus on this brand. These guys are very popular on TikTok. You've probably heard of them if you're in that space. We can say that they've grown by about 7.7% of this overall subcategory. And we can see they only have 2 listings for this subcategory, which is crazy. That's awesome. Because to me, that identifies as, all right now, these guys have recently launched in this subcategory. There's some good potential here. They only have 2 listings, and right off the bat, they're making $350,000, right? We're gonna do some further exploring into this in just a minute as well. Coming over here, we can see the product page score, right? All of these product pages are fully optimized, we can tell. Product page score, this is Smart Scout's internal number that basically takes into account the number of listings they have, and then they average it out based by number of images, if those listings have a video attached, if they also have, an ample amount of bullet points as well as description, and the actual length of those bullet points and description, right? And then we also look at the title as well. And that's how this average page score is taken into account. We can tell here that, again, all of these guys are fully optimized. Now, let's pretend for a moment that these top brands were not optimized. To me, that would indicate a great opportunity for us to come in with a killer listing and instantly start taking over market share. Listings honestly lead to so much more conversion. It makes you look more legit, really just boosts everything. And we're gonna get to listings in just a second. So coming back over here, we can also see the average prices, right? Guru Nanda, they are definitely a price leader in this. Okay, we can see that Amazing Herbs, their average price is $50. whereas Guru Nanda is only $18 on average across their products. Okay, so let's actually look at the products that Guru Nanda has here. All right, so the first thing I'm going to do is filter out brand right here. Type in Guru Nanda, right? Just starts with Guru. Okay, and scroll over, right? We can say, alrighty, this is a vendor central brand. We can see that majority of it's sold through Amazon.com. We can see the monthly revenue that each of these ASINs are capturing. Okay, that's pretty impressive. We can see that these ASINs were both very recently launched in 2024. Right now we are in July, so these are a good 3 and 4 months after launch, right? And then the product page scores are completely optimized. So if I were analyzing this subcategory as a subcategory to dive into, I would actually want to take a deep dive into Guru Nanda, okay? So right off the bat, I've seen this subcategory. If I'm in this area, if I have the proper suppliers, this might make sense for us to further explore, right? Using Smart Scout, in a matter of a few minutes, we've been able to identify here is a potentially profitable subcategory. So now that we've identified, okay, here's a subcategory that we want to explore into, right? Let's pretend that we are Guru Nanda. This is our brand that we're managing. So let's navigate over here to the brands tool, and we want to type in, right, Guru Nanda here, Guru. So let's explore this brand. Right, now we're going to pretend that, again, Guru Nanda is the brand that we're managing at the moment, okay? This is a very well-fledged out brand. They do about 4.2 million every single month. The average selling price is $15. The first thing I like to do is click over just to get a good lay of the land. What does the seller distribution look like? Guru Nanda controls about 50% of this brand, right? They sell themselves through their own vendor central account. We can say that Amazon.com sells about the other 50%. And then they have some in-store presence, so of course we see the standard unauthorized resellers. I'm assuming they're not authorized. Now, let's get into the competitive landscape of Guru Nanda. Their main subcategory is mouthwashes, but like we've identified, we want to check out the black seed oil. So we're looking at a totally different perspective here. Let's navigate to black seed oil, nutritional supplement, this subcategory. Okay, again, very similar to what we've seen. Okay, what is the actual growth potential here? So we're going to change this quick graph to the last 2 years. We'll change this to monthly. And we can see the month by month performance of this subcategory. Right, there was a huge spike in November, right? And it looks like there's a little bit of a dip right now. But we can determine, okay, last year's holiday season, there was nothing, right? It was still some decent performance, but this most recent holiday, look at that, we're at $8.4 million in the peak month. That's insanely impressive. Okay, so at a glance, if we were Guru Nanda, we can identify, okay, here's some good opportunity here to grow. We know when we should stock up on both ad dollars, CPC spend, as well as, even investing in more inventory or new product lines. We can come over here and see brands and ASINs over time. Now, let's just stay with brands for a minute. So we can see that the brands have grown quite a bit in this subcategory, right? In the last 2 years, it's gone from 320 to 430. That's an extra 100 new brands of competition. Now let's look at the ASIN count. ASINs have a very similar story. We've gone from 687 ASINs in July to just recently 938. Okay, the revenue is growing, so is the competition, right? Now we want to keep that in mind as we do some further investigating here. So in the back of my head, I'm saying, okay, there's some great opportunity. Guru Nanda has already seen some success here. What does this competition look like? Is this going to be temporary success? Right, we can see at a glance the year-over-year performance. Okay, so despite competition growing, the overall subcategory's performance is also growing. So I identify this right off the bat as, okay, there's still some great opportunity here. Clicking over here to market share, we can see at a glance, okay, Amazing Herbs, right? Let's come over here and let's deselect Guru Nanda. Let's just select a few of these other guys. Okay, we can see the ebbs and flows of all of the brands historically. Okay, we can see Amazing Herbs, they've been consistently a market leader. Meiji Superfoods, it looks like they've actually lost a little bit of market share to Amazing Herbs, right? To Amazing Herbs and probably some of these newer brands here. When we click over to brands, we can see that there is a lot of changes happening inside of this subcategory, but overall, it is pretty dang solid, right? It looks like when somebody starts capturing market share, they keep that market share. Now, if I was Guru Nanda in this case, I would identify that and say, okay, if we can become somewhat of a semi-market leader, or even just come in and continually capture, between 3 to 7%, we can expect to stay there for a while, right? Which would also indicate that there is some good future potential here. And if we want to do some quick navigation here as well, right, we can click through Amazing Herbs and see they have, absolutely taken off in their primary subcategory, black seed oil. So in terms of competitive analysis, at a glance, we understand exactly what's happening here. Now let's talk about if we want to launch a brand new product here, what does that look like, right? Let's actually optimize either an existing listing, or if we're going to create a brand new one, this is how you can do it with Smart Scout. So going back into the app itself, we can click on the products and see it's going to automatically filter to Guru Nanda. We just want to cancel that out. We want to check out this top ASIN here. Let's actually look at one of the SKUs that has been around for a while, right? Launch date, I guess this top one was launched in 2017. Product page score. Okay, so let's go with this top one. We're going to open it up here in Amazon and we can see, yeah, this is a great listing, right? Killer bullet points, decently fledged out. And then, they've got some phenomenal A+ content. And, across the board, this just looks like a very, very solid ASIN to try to mimic here. Now, what we're going to do is we are going to come up here, right, snag the ASIN itself, and then let's navigate back over here to Smart Scout. All right, so scrolling down, we're going to click on this AI Listing Architect. This is a very cool tool. Basically, what we can do is we can create a listing from another listing, which is my favorite way of doing it because they already have all of the front-end keywords involved, and it's a great way for us to instantly piggyback off of it, especially if you're launching quite a few ASINs at once, right? Using this AI Listing Architect is going to give you a really great instant starting point. Now, I'm going to come right here, click on this ASIN, and turn the one that we found. And before I touch anything, over here in the far right hand, we can see there's the default view and the advanced view. I click on this advanced view, all right? Now, let's change this brand name to Guru Nanda here, okay? Nanda. Now, we can see that, all right, so these guys sell capsules. Let's say we don't, right? It is black seed oil, okay? And we're gonna come right here and hit generate text. And right off the bat, Guru Nanda's black seed oil, cold pressed for maximum benefits. 100% pure black seed oil for health and wellness, 4-ounce bottle. That's awesome. Right off the bat, we've built a killer initial listing title. So now what we can do is we can come through here and we can change this to formal, friendly, enthusiastic, or witty. I'm gonna change this to friendly. Now, as we scroll down, we can see there are some killer bullet points here, and there's a lot of awesome keywords that we can rip off of. So let's click on regenerate text, and right off the bat, we're gonna get all of these brand new bullet points that we can now build into our brand new listing. Okay, if you want to add new keywords, you can totally type it in right here, right? It looks like there's not much I would add. I don't really know much about black seed oil, but if I did, I would add a few more keywords here that I'd want. We can also see the recommended keywords or the recommended search terms based off of relevant products, right? So if I wanted to add Nigella sativa oil to the bullet points, I would just click on add, and now I can regenerate all of this text and come through here and it's going to automatically populate. Now, one thing that was actually missing with our main ASIN was a product description. And this is great because now we have one. Let's give this a second here to generate. If you want to generate all this at once, you can just hit generate. And if you actually have your Amazon store connected to Smart Scout, you can publish this directly to your store, which is awesome. It saves a lot of time. It allows you to quickly go through and generate these listings. So in this video, we've identified which subcategory we want to dive into. We've been able to look at the competitive landscape. And then from there, we've been able to look at the market potential. And then at the very end, actually creating the listing with Smart Scout. From a brand manager's perspective, now you're a professional in the black seed oil subcategory. And on top of that, you've instantly built brand new listings for them. I hope you enjoyed this video. Thanks so much for watching. Stay tuned for the other ones.